What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. 88 Fitness Live. We're a little bit early today. It's Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, everyone. So we're going to my parents for lunch, so we're live early today. We're going to publish this at noon, so it'll publish at no time. We're just live early if you're catching us right now. So today we're talking about why so many fail to reach their fitness goals. You know, way more people fail than make it. So why is that? Today we're going to talk about that. But first,
update. Why don't you tell them about your maintain or your cutting and you reached your maintain?
Maybe, perhaps. So, you know, we cut to 2,300 last week or 2 weeks ago, lost a pound, went to 209, but then we maintained this week, came in at 209 again at 2,300 calories. I was hoping to lose for a couple of weeks at 2,300, but Coach Camille said, go ahead and stay at 2,300 and maintain to confirm or not.
I mean, I can't explain it, but it was kind of a weird week for a lot of people, myself included, and one of my clients as well, or a couple of my clients, in fact. So I only was able to lose 0.8, which seemed a little off. Like I could feel and still feel like I'm holding a lot of water, and I can't explain it. I mean, I don't know whether it's an overtrained thing or something with my sleep cycles off, but my body is definitely inflamed and I can tell.
Yes, and this seems to be happening a lot. I mean, we're heavy into allergy season, so my eyes are swollen, my eyes are watery, I can't breathe, and like Camille said, my whole body feels swollen, and there's no relief for it. So
yeah, one of my clients kind of explained the same thing. She was like, from like my waist down to my knees, I just feel like I'm holding water. You know, luckily she was able to get the scale to move a little bit, but it was not what we were expecting. And I think you even had another client too, where it was like she shot up in weight and we were just like, what is happening?
Myself and you, you know, scale didn't do what we wanted to do this week. Not going to make excuses. We're just saying, hey, maybe we're all swollen and feeling the effects of the allergies. If that's even possible, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the scale was definitely weird this week.
Yeah. So I'm going to drop my food a little bit, but I'm going to keep my cardio the same. If it is overtraining, I don't want to increase or ramp that up too fast. I need time to kind of rest. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed our before and after photos that we shot up there from last week into this week. So we're going to keep posting them for you guys, and hopefully you're enjoying that.
Yeah, it helps us stay accountable too. You know, I can't just take a week off and say, hey guys, I gained 6 pounds this week. Look at my pics, right?
Exactly.
So it helps us as well.
All right. So if you're new to the channel, welcome to Team 88. We are all about sharing our fitness knowledge with the community, and we love hearing from you guys too and interacting. So thank you to all of those that have been reaching out on all of the platforms.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
And if you're really enjoying our content, don't forget there's always that super thanks. It helps us to keep providing awesome content for you guys and upgrading our equipment. So those of you that have given us super thanks, we appreciate you.
Super thanks.
But all right, so let's actually get into the topic of today. We're going to break down the real reasons why results don't happen. And it's, you know, not always what you think. It's not always about training harder. It's about training smarter. It's about being consistent and managing your time. So let's be real and, you know, talk through these things.
Sure. Morning, Real Deal Prime. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. All right. So, you know, stick with us till the end because, you know, we also want to share some practical fixes with you guys for some of these roadblocks. And, you know, if you ever said, I've tried everything and like nothing's working, well, this video is probably for you.
Yes. And once, before you even get started, let's talk about expectations a little bit. You know, I was going back and forth with a guy on YouTube and I said, listen, dude, you're not going to look like Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah.
It's just not in the, it's not in the books. It's not in the cards. You know, I want to look like Ronnie Coleman too, but it's just not going to happen. You know, you got to realize you can look the best you look. If you're trying to look like a 300-pound Ronnie Coleman, he's 1 in a billion, 1 in a lifetime.
Right.
It's not going to happen. So set your expectations. Look the best that you can.
I mean, I think that's really good advice. One of my clients, she's seeing all of the other athletes posting on social media and is like, oh my gosh, I don't look like that. And I keep having to say, like, well, let's go back to, last October's show pics and let's compare them to your pick right now. Like, oh my gosh, like this is a significant difference. Like you're already leaner, sharper, bigger. Like that is a great goal. That is a great result. So don't like undermine that and compare it to something that's like not achievable right now.
Correct. And guess what happens when you keep beating your own physique? You start beating everybody else's.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So first and foremost, most people out there, like one of the reasons they don't achieve results is just because they're kind of lost and confused. There is so much information out there and not enough direction.
Yeah.
I think you see, there's no shortage of fitness advice. Just scroll through your Instagram for like 5 seconds and you're going to see like a gazillion fitness influencers showing you the next hottest thing and claiming that that's what helped them get their physique. You got to realize at the end of the day, those fitness influencers are trying to monetize their Instagram. They're trying to get clicks. They're trying to get views. And while some of the advice might be legit, you do want to question that.
Sure. I mean, we had, this is just an example of how lost people are, confused people are. We had a guy a couple years ago asking about green tea and lemon water to get big muscles. And I said, brother, man, green tea is going to help you burn fat, but that's it. Lemon water is about the same.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe that's like a nice fat burning aid.
Yeah, neither one of those is going to help you make muscles. Let's talk about creatine and protein if you want to make muscles, but he didn't want to hear it. He just wanted to talk about green tea and lemon water. So people were very lost, very confused. You can Google and get the information and kind of connect the dots, y'all, or get a coach or a trainer. Yeah. They'll help you out, especially if you're thinking green tea and lemon water is the key to big muscles, right?
For sure. I mean, I think that's what's so confusing. The problem is most people don't know how, one, who to trust that they're watching, and then two, like, it's difficult to try to combine that information into a program. So what happens is you might say, hey, this exercise from this person looks good. This one looks good. And you try to put that into like a cohesive program, but you're really just combining like 5 different strategies at once, not getting you the results that you need. So
I mean, we even competitors, these are high level athletes. Hey, I'm going to run a marathon while I'm getting ready for this bodybuilding competition. No, you're not. No, those are contradicting goals. Pick one and go for that one. You're lost and confused if you're going to train for both.
Right. Yeah. Another thing that I see a lot too is just like, switching between programs too fast. So there's like, you got to give it time, right? Like I would say 8 to 12 weeks on a particular program before even considering changing it. If you're getting great results on that program, don't change it. Like keep going until you kind of plateau. But a lot of people will be like, well, I did, this like 3-week glute thing and it didn't work. My glutes aren't any bigger. It's like, okay, well, maybe give it more time.
So, yeah, consistency coming later. But I've had the same thing. I trained a guy for 3 weeks, and he said, when is this going to get fun? And when am I going to see results? Hey, I put 3 weeks in. I didn't diet or take supplements or anything. I just worked out for 3 weeks. When am I going to see the results?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. We're talking about that in a little bit here. It's not all just about the training, right? Like the diet, the cardiovascular exercise, and the resistance training has to come together holistically, like as one big unit in order for you to actually get the results. If one of those pieces is missing out of there, you're not going to have optimal results too. So what's the fix for this? Like pick one solid program, you guys, and stick with it for 8 to 12 weeks. Trust the process.
Yes. And if you're lost and confused, do not be embarrassed. Just go get help.
Yeah.
There's a trainer that works at every single gym. They can get you started. If nothing else, they can get you started on the right path.
Right.
So invest a little bit of money into it, hire somebody to get you started so you're not starting off doing circles, going the wrong way, doing opposite stuff, et cetera, et cetera. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had a lot of people recently dropping us emails through the website, kind of asking to critique some of their programs. Y'all, if you want that kind of advice, definitely hit us on a messenger or something. Like the email is kind of cumbersome because it goes to all three of us trainers. So if there's a specific thing that you want, it's a lot easier for us to respond if you hit us on our either personal Instagrams or even the 88 one. It's just an easier platform to talk with you guys.
YouTube, leave a comment on here.
Yeah, you can leave a comment on here as well, and we'll get back to it. So yeah, I mean, trust the process. I have so many clients that are like, it's been 2 weeks, I don't see any results. And I'm like, I need you to give me 8 weeks. Yeah. I need you to give me at least 8 weeks.
I think you all know my story. You know, I was on and off until I got deployed for a year. When I put the whole year in consistently, that's when I made the gains. That's when I made a difference. That's when I started getting into shape. You know, that on and off, 3 months on, 3 months off, 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off, none of that works. Put in the time, stay consistent. I had a client I was training for a while, you know, she came in and said, I did everything perfect this week. Every diet, every supplement, every workout. I didn't miss nothing. I nailed it all. I said, fantastic. Good for you. I'm 3 years in. Good that you got 1 week. I'm 3 years in. Perfect. So let's keep it going. Aileen's on. What's up, Aileen? Lifestyle changes. You are correct.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lifestyle change. You have to commit to that to be successful. So
yes, and I'm glad you said lifestyle, because if it's not your lifestyle, you're not going to stick with it. So if you can't, you know, consistently wake up at 4 a.m. to work out at 5 a.m., pick a different time to work out.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I think we've all had clients that have been spinning their wheels, and once they kind of locked into a program, you know, and really mapped it out, like you guys, you wouldn't go out and build a house without a blueprint. So you're not going to get the fitness goals and results you want without a solid plan. Yeah. So take the time, chart it out, map out your 8 to 12 weeks and what you're going to do, and go from there.
And once again, you're not going to be Ronnie Coleman in 3 weeks, man. I wish you could. I wish I could too. But if your expectations are, hey, I'm going to be ripped in 3 weeks, you're sorely mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about putting on substantial mass, you got to give it a couple years for the different body parts. And there's a lot that goes into those couple of years, some of which we're going to talk about here, which actually brings me to the second reason most people don't achieve results is they lack intensity. They lack the will to get in there and grit through it and get it done.
Yes, this is the biggest one. I think this is where most people fail. You know, this is it. This and consistency, to me, are the two factors that hold up most people, right? So we get the question all the time, how come science guys aren't big? You know, they're in shape, but how come they're not monsters, bodybuilders? You know, they know all the stuff. And most science guys do know what they're talking about. Here's why they fail. There's a disconnect. They'd rather change the angle 10 degrees than walk into the gym and say, I'm the baddest dude in here, and I'm going to outwork every single mofo in this gym right now because I'm the man. I'm the baddest in the valley. I'm the athlete coming in here to dominate. Right. Science people are typically nerds, right? So instead of having that mindset of an athlete, they got the mindset, oh, I can change this angle by 10 degrees and get a little more activation. Instead of just walking in there like an animal and going berserk with your intensity levels, they go, oh, just change the angle a little bit.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, I think each of us have to just really be honest and ask ourselves, like, are you actually training hard? Like, are you breathing heavy? Are your muscles burning? Are you pushing past comfort?
And most people think they are training hard. They're not.
I mean, I'll just tell you guys, I was out there training legs this morning. I was doing leg curls, and I think I was curling like 90 pounds, which it shouldn't be light for me. For some reason, that's actually really heavy. And like I had to go in there and I had a progressive overload. So I had to hit 12 reps. And as I'm getting close to 12, I'm doing a drop set now. I was like, shit, this is burning. Like, this is burning. I want to stop. And I just looked over at our kind of success wall of all the befores and afters. And I say, no, I'm an athlete. I'm going to keep going. I don't care how bad this hurts. Right. Like, let those hamstrings snap before I stop. like, let's not actually do that. But you get the point. Like, I had to just grind through it. It was awful.
She did say it, athletes, top athletes, professional athletes, every top athlete, every sport, in order to get to the top, you're going to have to sacrifice your body. You are. Snap your hamstrings, like she said. No, we're not going to snap our hamstrings, but we're going to go until they don't work anymore.
Exactly.
And that's how you get the gains. And it hurts. It's painful. It's ugly. You're making faces. You're sweating. I mean, it's pretty.
The burn happened around 8, and so to keep going all the way to 12 reps and then drop the weight and keep going and drop and keep going. I mean, that was just another level. Like, you have to transport yourself somewhere else to get through that.
And you're talking serious pain. Most people don't even want discomfort. As soon as they feel a bit of discomfort, oh, I'm done.
Right.
This is serious pain. Champion can take the pain. Athlete can take the pain. They're going in. They're beating everybody else. They're outworking everybody else. That's why science, guys, that's the disconnect.
And if you don't want to do that, and you are okay with where your physique is, that's fine. Like, sure. I'm not trying to, say that that's a bad thing, but if you're like, hey, I'm not happy with my physique, I want to build more muscle and look more toned, then you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit and endure that kind of momentary pain, I'll call it.
Yes. And the momentary pains during the workout, the other pains when you're sore for the next 3 days walking around because you can't walk right.
I actually love that. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, but I'm like, yes. And
this is where most people fail. I've trained trainers for competitions, so I coach them for competitions. And these trainers have been in the industry 20 plus years. And the very first set of the very first exercise said, "What the heck was that? You didn't take that to failure. That was not intense. That was nothing. You did your 10 reps, yawned, and said, I'm good."
Yeah.
And they, had to come to Jesus for a second and say, wow, you're right. I've been training wrong for 20 years now. I have to step my game up and go harder.
Exactly. Aline says they all forget it's a sport, not a walk in the park. You are 100% right. Yeah, I had a client that I would train and they would do the leg press. And I would tell them, like, hey, out of all the things that you can do for legs, this is the one where we can fail safely. Yeah. So we're going to take it to our failure point. And so, their goal was 10 reps. Well, they did 10 reps and they racked it back. And I said, okay, if you could push your legs up on that 10th rep to rack it and, secure the safeties, well, then we did it. Then we did not go to failure. You should be stuck at the bottom and have to shoot out the back or say, hey, Camille, can you assist so I can get this all the way back up?
Yes.
And so what do? We added weight plates and we took it to failure. And it was, again, another level.
Yeah.
So.
And that's it, yo. I mean, once again, this is where most people disconnect. They don't put in the intensity. If you're progressive overloading and you're tracking, you're eventually going to get there. May take a while, depending on your starting weights. But as long as you're progressive overloading every workout, you're eventually going to get your intensity levels where they need to be because you're adding a weight or a rep every workout.
Yeah, absolutely. And, with those reps that you're adding, you really should be like 8 to 9 on the, rate of perceived effort scale. So 8 or 9 out of 10. So if you're not there, it's probably still too late for you. So be honest, try to find where your 8 to 9 is and hit that rep range and progressive overload. And so, yeah, that's the fix. Y'all get a logbook. If you're not getting results and you're not tracking, just write it down and track it week to week. You'll be surprised because you'll walk in and be like, oh, I don't feel right today. I'm just going to go a little lighter. Well, that's why you're spinning wheels and not getting those results.
Correct. You don't have a choice if you write it down.
All right. And there's a lot of different techniques. You can intensify and do drop sets, rest pause, static hold. In fact, I have a series. I think it's dropping this week, when you're short on time, what's the top 3 exercises that for each body part that you can do to get the intensity. And it does use some of those techniques like drop sets, rest pause, and the like. So if you're not doing those intensifying techniques, that's another way to get that intensity up.
It is. And you still need to progressive overload those intensifying techniques. So once again, if you're using them, track it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get it. Sometimes you need adjustability. Right now, there's something weird going on with my back. Like when I do an RDL, I'm getting like, shocks up and down my arms. So I think there's a compressed disc in there or something. So I actually had to do cable deadlifts today.
Yeah.
Problem with cable deadlifts, y'all, is I can like rack our cable machine. So it goes to 97.5 pounds. I can do all 97 of those. So I actually had to do an intensifying technique to be able to progressive overload that. So I drop set it from there. And woo, baby, that was a lot of reps. So I felt it for sure.
Yes, you do have to adjust sometimes. And like Aileen said, this is a sport, man. And in sports, very rare are people performing at 100%.
Right.
Most of them have some kind of injury, some kind of tweak. Think about football, basketball, hockey, UFC. Those guys are training hard. They're rarely at 100%. There is something ailing them almost all the time.
Native Grit.
Hey, Native Grit, what's up, brother? We had to get on early because of Easter, my man.
Yeah. Another quick example, I'll use myself. Like I thought I was training pretty intensely, and then I kind of switched to a Mike Mentor, heavy intensity training style. And y'all, like I had the most leg gains I've ever seen in that couple year period. Like James and I were looking back at pictures from when I started my prep in 2021 to now. And it's like, hey, I have a lot more definition and lines and things. And so it was, holding myself accountable and saying, hey, my training wasn't intense enough. Like I'm gonna have to crank up that weight and go to like this grotesque amount of weight.
Yes. I think you shared this before. I used to think shoulder day was easy and arm day was easy before I was tracking my weights and progressive overload. And guess what? There are no easy days. They're not easy. You're going in gut busting, willpower, lifting that weight that you couldn't do the week before.
Right. All right. So third reason why people don't get results is related to time management, y'all. Like, it's not about time. It's about priorities. Like everyone's got the same amount of time in the day, but not everyone's priorities are the same.
Yep. Anytime anybody says I don't have time, I say you got the same 24 hours as everybody else, bro. You can do what you want with those 24 hours. It's about priorities. And then I say, how much TV do you watch?
Yeah. Were you up all night watching Netflix because, some new series dropped and you're like, I'm binge watching? Well, hey, that's taking time away from you being rested and being able to wake up at 4 a.m. and get your training in.
How long are you playing video games? So once again, you do have time. You just prioritize other things.
Yeah. And you don't need 2 hours, a day to get it in. Like some of the best physiques were built on a 45-minute session 4 times a week.
Correct. Like I'm gonna quote Dorian Yates. I won Mr. Olympia working out 4 hours a week. That's Dorian Yates, Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
4 hours a week. That's 4 workouts in 1 week. And it took him, and he won the Olympia doing that.
That's why,
you don't have to put in a bunch of time. And I'm going to quote Mike Mentor, you can work out hard or you can work out long. You're not going to do both.
Exactly.
So really, you can go in and get a workout in a half hour if you're in there, like I said, going berserker and giving 100% intensity.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to film that session. It's like, hey, if you're going to go in and just hit the top 3 or 4 workouts or exercises, half hours, all you got, like you can still make those gains. I think it's such a fun thing for people to realize.
Yeah. Native Grit said, I've been so sick with these medical conditions. I'm still up at 3 a.m. before work to get a workout.
That's right.
Fantastic.
I love that discipline.
I am praying for you, brother. I hope the medical conditions get better, but at least you are still sticking with it. That's intensity, and that is grit right there, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Pushing through your sickness, your conditions, and still getting that workout. Fantastic, baby.
So let's talk about fixes for the time management, because Native Grit kind of mentions one, morning workouts. Morning before things get in the way. Like you can't make an excuse. It's morning. Things haven't happened. But like, hey, if you're planning to work out at lunch, you could get called into a meeting or pulled away for some assignment and not have the time.
Yes. I
mean, it's one of the things where if I know I can for sure work out in the morning, I'm going to hit it in the morning because my lunchtime is unpredictable.
So any CEO of any Fortune 500 company, you look them up. If they work out, it's at 4 or 5 in the morning. And they will tell you this is the only time I have, because once 6 o'clock hits, I'm getting pulled in different directions.
Yeah.
And it's like that until I'm off work at the end of the day.
Yeah. And we haven't talked a whole lot about nutrition. We will, but you're going to want to try to prioritize the meal prep once or twice a week. That way, the food to support your goals are there and you're not having to think about it day to day and make bad decisions. It's already kind of programmed and set. So grab and go is a great way if you're not seeing the results that you need. And we talked about there's different training splits for people. Like look at what muscle group's lacking and you can figure out like a 4-day-a-week split type thing, even if you can't do 5 or 6 days. So just remember, like even a consistent 3 days of working is better than 7 random ones. So think about that too.
Yes. Aileen says, go in the gym like a warrior, not dragging your feet. Once I start, it's go.
That's right.
Outstanding. I love that mindset. And once again, that's the mindset you need. Mm-hmm. You walking in there, if you're an athlete, you walking on the field, the court, whatever, saying, I'm the best one out here. You should be walking in the gym saying the same thing. Even if you're not, you should be thinking in your head the same thing. I'm the best one in here, and I'm going to outwork everybody here right now. Mm-hmm. That's intensity. That's Absolutely. What does it.
Yeah. All right. So number 4, we're kind of moving along here with why you're not getting results. Number 4 is consistency, y'all. The secret isn't really the workout. It's showing up over and over and over again. I think this is a big one. Consistency is going to trump everything, you guys.
Correct. Rule 1, show up. That's rule 1. And a lot of people can't even do that.
Right. No one's expecting you to be perfect, but you do need to be consistent. So show up even if you don't feel like it.
You can make up for a lot of mistakes just by being consistent, And you're going to learn. If you're consistent, you're going to learn as you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I told you guys, right? Like I got some kind of tweaked back right now. I actually think I'm fighting like a labrum tear in my shoulder. I'm still showing up. I'm still like modifying exercises, working around those injuries and doing what I can. Yep. And believe me, I'd much rather stay in bed and do nothing, but I'm not going to do that because I am an athlete.
Yes. So like I said at the beginning of this, allergies are kicking our butts right now. So I don't want to get out of bed, but guess what? I'm getting out of bed and I'm hitting that gym first thing in the morning so I can get the crud out, wake up and feel better first thing in the morning, right? Aileen said, like any other sport, practice. That's a very good point, my man. If you're not coming and practicing your sport consistently, you're not going to be good at that either.
Absolutely. A lot of people will go all in for a couple of weeks and then they'll go ghost mode for about a month, y'all. And then they'll say, nothing works for me. Yep.
So, it's kind of heartbreaking because I've trained many, many, many people over the years for an event. Most of the time it's a wedding. So you got, 400-pound guy getting married. He gets down to 220 for his wedding. Looks fantastic. Great shape, man. You lost almost half your body weight, literally. Fantastic. I mean, this is great. I'm cheering them on. This is wonderful. Wait, hey, great. We got an appointment after the honeymoon. First time doesn't come back.
Oh.
And you never see him again. And you're going, man, I wonder what happened to blah, blah, blah. He got married and we never saw him again. I hope he stayed in shape, but if he didn't come back to the gym. Neti pot. What the heck's a neti pot?
It's where you like kind of flush out your nasal cavity.
Oh, okay.
It's a weird feeling, but yeah, I mean, that definitely helps.
Try it out. I'll try anything at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I too had a client, she's, menopausal and was struggling, and part of it was consistency. She would track for about a week and a half, like really consistent, and try to show up and do the workouts. And I would just say like, hey, it's not a week and a half. That's not going to cut it. Like, I need you to keep showing up. Like, your body can't figure out what it is that you're doing because you're not putting enough time in. And so once she started tracking, meal prepping, doing those 4, lifting sessions a week and all of those things lined up, she was like, oh my God, the scale's moving. Like, it hasn't moved in a year and a half, but it started moving.
Yeah. You do everything right. You do it consistent. You will get results. You're not giving your body a choice,
Yeah.
And you know my story. I think I started working out in the 5th grade, literally in the 5th grade, but I do 2 weeks on and then 2 months off. You know, and I did that all the way through high school. You know, I usually would work out all summer long because we're bored and we don't have anything else to do. And then as soon as school started or sports started, well,
Yeah.
the workout stopped. And then, like I said at the beginning of this, I didn't get really hooked or results until I put that year in when I got deployed. Then it's game on. Then I could see the results, and then I loved it. You know, when you're doing 3 months on and then 6 months off, you don't see any results. And it's frustrating.
Aline says it's when they say I'm sore, can't work out. I'm sore almost every day. I hear ya.
Tired, sore, cranky. You know, you can come up with any excuse there is. I mean, I've had clients say I'm not coming because it's raining out. And then the same client will say I'm not coming because it's nice out. So you can come up with any excuse you want. The what we said earlier, if you prioritize your workouts, prioritize yourself, you will do these things.
You know, fitness is a game of momentum, you know, I would say, like, and you win by doing the work even when it's boring. So be consistent, show up and do it. Yeah, some fixes for that is that you're going to want to focus on building good habits. So put workouts in your calendar. Like if you live and die by the calendar and your workout's not calendarized, that's a big problem. You should be fitting it in.
So I'm going to put it a different way. Prioritize your workout. You know, my life is planned around my workout. I know I'm at the professional level, but if you're serious, you're going to plan everything around your workout to make sure that's the most important thing of the day. I'm getting my gains. I'm getting it in. This is more important than work. This is more important than anything. This is the plan. Everything else is going to be planned around it.
Right. I think another thing that helps sometimes too is visual trackers. So if you maybe print out like 8 weeks or 12 weeks worth of calendars and you actually put like an X through it or a line through it, it'll actually show you like, okay, I worked out all of these days. And if you start seeing like big gaps in between those strikeouts, like, well, oh, that's a problem. So that can definitely help too.
And so many people don't stay consistent. You know, I don't really understand. You know, I said I got deployed. I worked out for a year in the middle of the desert. Well, guess what? I'm working out with the same guys. There was probably 40 of them in the middle of the desert working out in the tent. It was a big GP medium tent with free weights in it. And literally the same 40 guys worked out for an entire year. Guess what? Who was the only one working out 3 weeks back at home? Me. And I'm looking around the gym going, where the heck are the rest of these 40 guys at? Well, they're at home, or they're at the bar, or they're meeting a girl, or they're having a drink, or they're playing their video games. Now there's other things that prioritize instead of their workout.
Sure. Native Grit says, every 8 weeks, I switch up my workouts.
Nice.
That's good. That's a good strategy. We talked about how things happen. You wake up, something's tweaked, something sore. I would recommend that you guys reframe your bad days as kind of like your minimum effort days versus missed ones. Like even getting up and doing something, anything is better than just saying, hey, I'm just going to totally skip out. Unless you're actually injured. If you're actually injured, let it heal, take the time off. But if you're just kind of slightly off that day for whatever reason, like get out of bed and get it done is what I would recommend.
100%. I'm tweaked, Camille's tweaked, and I'm going to say it again. Most athletes got some kind of hurt, some kind of pain, some kind of tweak going on, but they drive through.
Yeah.
Sacrifice your body and get those gains.
And, you got to like keep things in perspective. Like one missed workout because, hey, something's really injured. It's not going to break your physique. It's not going to stall your gains. Like you need that to recover so you can keep building optimally. It's not even a couple of missed workouts, but, once it becomes a trend, then that is a problem. So look out for those.
If you're the person that has to say, well, I don't want to take a day off, you don't need to worry about consistency. Yeah. I don't want to take a day off to let this injury heal. If that's you, you're already consistent and you don't need to worry about consistency.
All right, let's keep this rolling. I saved kind of like the biggest tip for last, and it is diet, the ultimate deal breaker, y'all. So you cannot out train and outrun a bad diet. I'm just going to tell you, like, you cannot guess your way through results.
No, you can't.
So if your diet isn't aligned to whatever the goal is that you're trying to achieve right now, well, then you're not going to see the results, period.
You can't outwork out a bad diet. You can't. It won't happen.
No, it will definitely catch up with you. Most people think that they're pretty healthy until they track it. And they're like, oh my goodness, I'm eating way more sugar than I thought I was. It's pretty enlightening.
Daytona 392 says diet is the dream killer.
It is. It so is.
I like that. You know, goals and dreams are just that. They're goals and dreams. And your diet will kill that if you don't make the habits in order to achieve the goals and dreams. And you just keep eating donuts and bread all day thinking, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. No, you're not. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to change your habits to reach your goals, and that is doing the right diet. I love that. Diet is the dream killer.
I also think there's a lot of hidden calories that people don't think about as they're eating through the day. I mean, there's calories and hidden sugars and just about anything. If it tastes good to you, there's probably sugar and fat in it. For sure. Like those are the two ways that, you know, the industry makes things taste good. So unless you're like logging into MyFitnessPal or My Macros and actually typing that in, you're not really going to know what it's composed of. Yeah. So read your labels and track.
Take a look at your toothpaste, y'all. I will bet you money there's calories in it. Mm-hmm. Are you tracking those? I bet you're not. All right. Aileen says people who play sports do have more discipline, but you can learn that. If new, my first trick, 10 push-ups when you wake up every morning, no matter what. That's a great start to the day.
Mm-hmm. Gets the blood flowing, wakes you up. I like that.
And I can tell you, Aileen, you are correct. And any trainer that's been around can tell you, any college athlete, it can be community college. Anybody that went beyond high school in sports is on another level. And if you get a D1 or a professional athlete, holy smokes, they are on another level. They take it serious and they are not playing, and they know what it's like to be an athlete and go in there and try to be number one. Mm-hmm. I love training athletes.
For sure. You know, another thing I noticed that most people are actually under eating protein for their goals of building muscle, especially the women. They'll be eating around like 50 grams of protein a day. Like that's just not going to cut it if we're trying to tone up and build some muscle mass. So obviously, what are the fixes for this? Like use a tracking app. Even if you're only doing it like every week, get the awareness, like see where you are at, see what stuff is, and spot check yourself frequently, if not daily.
Yes, listen, this is very simple, right? Here's your calories, break it down, track everything, eat your calories for the day. Simple, so simple. Easy? No. At the end of dinner, me and Camille are at the dinner table going, man, I'm hungry. That's all we get to eat, and we got to go to bed hungry. Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. And it's okay to be hungry, especially if you're leaning out. You're not starving. You're going to eat. Just realize you're going to be hungry.
Mm-hmm. Aileen says he's up to 1.4 grams per pound of protein. That's excellent. Fantastic. Yeah, you're definitely getting enough protein. Another thing I see a lot of people do is they kind of cut carbs out of fear. You know, you got to realize that is your body's primary fuel source. So if we're trying to build muscle, you probably want to keep carbs in your diet. You know, it's more so about the overall caloric surplus or deficit that makes the biggest change for the goal.
It's true. I see more people cutting fat out than carbs. They think, you know, if I don't eat any fat, then I'm going to lose fat.
Right.
That's completely wrong, completely false.
And I did that like way back when before I was a trainer, like I did that. I like cut almost all my fat out and I wasn't losing any weight. And James is like, wait a minute, like why'd you do that? Like, of course you're not. You can't, support hormone production and like, in your thyroid to be able to lose the weight anymore. I was like, So yeah, we all make that mistake.
Yeah. Native Grit says a good thing for me is getting out of my own head. I agree, Native Grit. Mm-hmm. At this point, this is therapy, man. I'm going to say it again. We're going through allergy season, which makes me tired and cranky. I was at work, I think Wednesday, and the guy, or Thursday, and the guy was like, James, go to the gym. Because I'm just in such a stank mood. He said, go to the gym, go fix your head, then come back with a better attitude. And guess what? I did. You know, took an hour, went to the gym, worked out my demons, felt way better, came back to work pleasant.
Good. I like that. You know, another thing I would tell people as a fix, like try to avoid all or nothing fad type diets and just focus on sustainable eating for your goal. When you kind of get to extremes, you're setting yourself up for long-term failure. Like even if you achieve short-term success, long-term, you know, you're going to have some issues still hitting that consistency.
I'm going to repeat Aileen. You know, I don't care what diet you pick, as long as it's a lifestyle. So if you can do keto for the rest of your life, I'd do it. If you can be a vegan for the rest of your life, fantastic. Etc. Etc. I'm Atkins for the rest. It's got to be a lifestyle, y'all. And if you know you're doing Atkins, but you're looking forward to eating bread at the end of the week or at the end of your diet, well, that's not a lifestyle. Yeah, that's not going to be your diet for the rest of your life. So pick one you can do for the rest of your life. To me, good variety. Just track everything. Track your calories. Track your macros, and get a good variety of every bit of food there is.
You know, fitness goals are kind of like saving money, right? Like you don't need to be extreme with it, but you need to be consistent. And then over time, that amounts to real change and results. If you guys saw my before and after pics from this week, like I only lost 0.8. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but you know, that consistent, repeated, trying to lose the weight, trying to cut, like over the next 16 weeks, you're going to see the transformation in the physique and be like, man, like that's what consistency can do. It wasn't any in particular week. It was the string of weeks stacked together that made the real transformation.
Right. And then most people are going to go, I only lost 0.8 and I just busted my butt so hard this week. I'm done. I'm quitting. I'm going back to eating.
Right.
Because I only lost 0.8. But what'd you lose last week? 2 pounds. What'd you eat the week before? 1 pound. And if you keep doing this, they add up. They will add up. Keep losing. I don't care if it's a half pound a week. Keep doing it, and eventually it will add up.
Aileen says, I write down what I like for food and make my diet fit. We kind of do that too, Aileen. Nice. Like we'll come up with what meals, but then we got to get creative in My Fitness Pal on how can we stack those meals throughout the day and week to get it to fit our macros.
Yes, and today's Easter, so you know I got ham and macaroni and cheese programmed in.
I've got those Hawaiian rolls. Oh yeah.
So you just have to adjust for that day or that week or whatever it is, that event. If you want to eat while you're at that event, you know, I don't care what it is, happy hour, today's Easter, so we're going to keep talking about Easter. I'm going to eat today, but it's programmed in and I'll plan for it.
Absolutely. Same here. All right. So those were our top 5 kind of reasons why people don't achieve the results. So hopefully, you know, one or more of those kind of resonated with you if you're feeling kind of stuck. But yeah, it's no need to be frustrated. Just, you know, take a hard look at what you're doing. You're not broken. You just might be misaligned in one of those 5 areas that we talked about today.
Listen, y'all, you might want to write this down. If you get your intensity where it needs to be and you're consistent, the rest will fall in line. The rest will fall in line with maybe the exception of a diet.
Absolutely.
But if you get your intensity levels where they need to be and you're consistent, you're going to get results.
Yeah, guaranteed, for sure.
Guaranteed.
So we definitely want to hear from you guys. So drop us a comment on what your biggest struggle is right now. And we'll personally reply to you or film some more content related to that to help you guys out. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We really appreciate you guys. We will be here next Sunday at our regular time, 12 Eastern. Thank you for tuning in, everyone, early today. Yes. But yeah, let's keep that intensity high, consistency on point, and let's get those gains, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
All right. See you next time. Bye, everyone. Happy Easter.